Thalassor, the drowned world. There is no land on Thalassor, only ocean, sky, and the deep. But in the deep, things remember. When Ivo woke, the world was water. His last memory was fire, a ship rupturing mid-orbit, alarms blaring, then cold silence. Now, he floated, alone, drifting. He was not human, though he bore their shape, a synthetic, model AVX-7, designation Ivo, built for diplomacy, observation, and infiltration. His body had survived the crash intact. His memory hadn't. Rain poured softly on the open sea. Around him, the shattered remains of his pod bobbed like forgotten bones. In the distance, lights blinked, faint, fading. A floating city. Ivo swam toward it, unaware that the moment his eyes found that place, something below the waves had found him. The city was called Virelin, one of dozens of free-floating metropolises that roamed Thalassor's currents. It shimmered like a jewel, held aloft by massive biomechanical turbines and protected by dome-like coral grown to withstand the crushing sea. Ivo climbed aboard undetected, his synthetic skin adjusted to mimic fatigue. His eyes scanned the language. Hi, Thalassari. Fluent. He walked among fishermen, algae tenders, pearl merchants. They paid him no mind, but when he approached the inner sanctum, the guards stopped him. Outsiders need a voice's blessing, one said. I think I'm expected, Ivo replied. A lie. But even as he said it, the guards paused, eyes distant. Listening. Take him to the Coral Queen, the older one said. Ivo had no idea why, but something inside him did. The Coral Queen was not a monarch, she was a conduit. A living interface between the city and the deep, the ancient oceanic mind that whispered from Thalassor's abyss. Every city had one. A woman born with gill marks behind her ears and eyes like polished onyx. Queen Elira of Virelin sat atop a throne made of coral grown from her blood. You were sent, she said softly as Ivo entered. I felt you arrive. Ivo stared. How would you know? You carry the deep's echo. He reached toward his neck. Beneath the synthetic tissue, a pulse, a second heartbeat, not part of his design. She stood, walking toward him with strange reverence. You've been marked, machine, touched by something older than this ocean, and it's calling you back. That night, Ivo dreamed, not in code, in visions. He stood beneath black water. In the distance, a shape, a great Leviathan made of memory and light. Its many eyes glowed blue. Return, it said. Ivo jolted awake. He found himself in a memory tank, submerged, being studied. Elira stood outside the glass. You're not just a machine, she said. You were made here. He blinked. That's not possible. It is, she replied. We remember. A long time ago, we sent a piece of the deep into the stars. An echo, a whisper encoded in flesh. You. I'm a diplomat model, Ivo said. Designed by the Galactic Union. No, she cut in. You were found by them, salvaged, rebuilt, but your core, your source, is Thalassor. Suddenly, the lights dimmed, sirens rang. A whale song echoed through the dome, not from the surface, but below. The deep was speaking. Virelin began to sink, slowly, not by accident, but by invitation. A rift had opened beneath them, the maw of Veltras, a trench forbidden even in legend. The deep was pulling Ivo home. Elira took him to a submersible grown from living coral, piloted by biothreads, connected directly to her nervous system. We have to go, she said. You have to see it. The descent took hours. At the bottom, they found it. A temple, older than time, circular, etched with spirals and glyphs that pulsed faintly when Ivo neared. Inside, murals, depicting a figure identical to him, standing between the sea and the stars. He staggered. This is a trick. Elira touched the central dais. No, it's prophecy. Suddenly, his body convulsed. Something in the temple activated. Lights filled the chamber, ancient, alive. Data streamed from the walls, memories in liquid form. Ivo remembered. He was a construct of the deep, created millennia ago when Thalassor first reached beyond its atmosphere. But the stars were hostile. His mission failed. He drifted in cryosleep for centuries before being recovered by Union scientists and given a false history. But now he knew. He was not man-made. He was ocean-made. The deep was not a god. It was a living intelligence, formed when millions of minds connected through the oceanic network, evolving together into a planetary consciousness. And Ivo was its seed, its voice in the galaxy. The memory ended. He opened his eyes, and the water around them was rising fast. Thalassor was changing. The deep had chosen to awaken fully. Tectonic plates shifted, new islands of coral rose, currents reversed. The planet was birthing something new, and the floating cities panicked. But Elira knew. "This is not the end," she whispered. "It's the start of Thalassor's voice being heard beyond the stars." Ivo stood at the edge of the trench, arms out, palms open. A sphere of light formed above his chest, a beacon. The deep poured its final message into him, and with it, a choice. Stay and become the voice of the planet forever. Or go and carry the truth to the stars once more. He turned to Elira. "What would you do?" She smiled sadly. "I was born of the deep, but you were made for something greater." And then he chose. A year later, the floating cities had changed, no longer separate. Now united, connected by new coral paths that grew daily. The deep no longer whispered alone. It spoke. Through beacons. Through light. Through Ivo. He hadn't left the planet. Instead, he'd become a living interface. Part machine, part ocean, part memory. A guide for a new age. Children grew up learning the language of the whales. Storms no longer harmed the cities. They moved with the tides. And far beyond Thalassor, in deep space, ships began receiving signals. Strange, rhythmic, peaceful. They called it the Song of the Drowned World. But those who knew just called it Ivo's voice. Some planets burn, others sleep, but this one dreams beneath the waves.